sometimes we get ghosted, which is sad.
Don't we all?
Yeah, and
Just message us back.
just tell me no.
That's all we need to know.
I'm a big girl.
Then
I
we
can
can
be
move
told
on.
no.
Jen, great having you on the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you. I know. How many times have we rescheduled now?
Maybe 5. But we're here.
Yeah, no motorway driving needed.
No, good things come to those who wait.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
So I'm the founder of the Wedding Crechers Surrey. I'm based in between Wimbledon and Epsom. I'm a mum to a little boy called Jensen, who is a 1-year-old toddler who is just chaotic. I essentially run the business. It's mine and my friend Lauren's business, and what we do is nanny for children at weddings. We have 16 years experience in childcare. Lauren has a few more years because she's a bit older than me.
Good luck with that when you get home.
Yeah, exactly. And we set up our business in back end of 2022, looming into 2023, which is when I had my little boy, which wasn't on my agenda when I first set up my business, but he is the reason that I've been able to push my business as much as I have, and he's given me the time to do so. So everything come at good timing.
Great name as well, the Wedding Crechers.
Thank you.
I love
Lauren
that.
actually thought of it.
After the movie?
Yes. So
Big Vince Vaughn fan.
The Wedding Crechers is obviously the movie, and we are the Wedding Crechers. So we take away the chaos from the crashing.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's where we've come from. The amount of people that cannot pronounce it is ridiculous. And like the amount of people that you have to kind of like explain the joke to. They're like, are you just a really big fan of the film? And I'm like, no.
I've never seen the film.
No, I've actually never seen the film. It's just that we are a creche and it's a wedding. So that's how it works.
So what exactly is a wedding creche for people that don't know?
So what we do is we go to weddings or events, and we provide childcare and kind of a creche set up for the children. So all our packages are bespoke. Bespoke, for anyone that doesn't know, is just catered to your wedding or your event. And we have a range of different packages starting at silver all the way down to platinum, and it is bespoke to your day, the number of children you have, the age ranges of the children, and we kind of go from there. And our job essentially is to take the stress and the pressure away from brides and grooms if it's their wedding day, or just family and friends, grandparents, friends and family who would be looking after the children at the wedding.
You always see like a nan or an aunt running
Yeah,
after
just like running after, missing the ceremony, like trying to like half eat a roast dinner while like a kid is hanging off them. So we are there to take that away, and not necessarily take it away. We don't just like kidnap them and throw them out. To take the children, provide entertainment for them, and that is kind of we find out so much about the children before that we know the children inside out.
Yeah.
So we provide the creche to exactly what the children are interested in, and we make it aesthetically pleasing. So we use a lot of like wooden toys, a lot of outdoor activities. Obviously, kids love plastic and tat like that, but
so do I.
Yeah, and we just make it look as pretty as possible, but also keeping the children entertained. And then we ratio our numbers so that we have enough staff to the number of children, and the kids are as involved or as not involved in the wedding.
And how do you do you have like a meeting with the couple ahead of time with the kids?
Yeah, so what we do is we'll get our inquiry through, and then with the inquiry, hopefully they've provided as much information as possible. Sometimes we get inquiries like, hi, are you available on the 4th of August? I'm like,
it's just the date and the
venue.
like
what for? Like even the venue would be helpful.
Yeah.
So we find out exactly the number of children attending the wedding, the age ranges of the children, and then kind of the hours that they would be looking for. I always kind of say, do you have a budget in mind? And that's not so I can be like, right, give me all your money. It's so that I know what package is best to suit with them, what hours we can provide for within that budget. And then once we've had that initial consultation call, I will give them a full breakdown of a quote, and then usually they book in with us. Sometimes we get ghosted, which is sad.
Don't we all?
Yeah, and
Just message us back.
just tell me no.
That's all we need to
I'm a
know.
big girl.
Then
I
we
can
can
be
move
told
on.
no. Yeah,
I can stop crying and get out of the
literally.
fetal position.
Yeah, exactly that. So we usually then take our booking. Once we've got the booking, we've got bookings for 2 years in advance. Sometimes our bookings are in a short period of time. So depending where they live, what package they've booked, we can offer a meet and greet. That's either on FaceTime, or if they're within a 10-mile radius, we do a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Sometimes like brides and grooms just come to, because we go to like a lot of wedding showcases, they'll just come to there, meet us with the kids. Or like on Friday, for example, I'm going to someone's house to meet the children before. I've met in coffee shops, parks, anywhere that's kind of like we can have a quick chat.
Kid friendly as well.
Yeah, a bit kid friendly. I tend to avoid soft plays. I tend to avoid soft plays at all costs anyway.
It's so noisy.
It's loud, it's horrible, they stink.
Sticky.
Yeah, like not for me. So yeah, and then we'll do a meet and greet. Also, we have like forms that we fill out, and this literally has everything on it about the children, basically, apart from what blood group they are. I want to know every detail, how many ounces of milk they have, so that on the day, you don't have to ask a single question. I just look at my form and I go, yep, I know that. And also I can pass it on to the team. There's a team of 4 of us.
Yeah.
So it's myself, Lauren, Yvonne, and Fiona.
Is Fiona going to be pissed that she came last on that list?
Yeah, mate. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. So yeah, and what I can do is that we have a meeting before and I tell them everything about every child, and then we so it's kind of like key children. So like say we've
like
got
what nurseries do. Yeah.
We all chip in and look after all the children, but say there's 10 children at the wedding, I'll have like 3, Lauren will have like 3, Yvonne will have 4, and Fiona will have 3. Is that 10? I don't even know if that adds. Just don't add up to 10.
I think that's like 13.
Oh, well, whatever. You know what I mean. Yeah, so we just kind of like...
You have 2.5, they have 2.5.
Yeah, so then you know, right, these are my children, and this is where they are.
Yeah. And how do you cater for like children that may have special needs or disabilities and stuff like that?
Both Yvonne and Fiona are special need trained. Fiona works in a special needs school.
Okay.
So it's her bread and butter, what she does every day. And Yvonne has worked in a primary school. I'm not going to say her age, but she's a nan now. So she's worked in a primary school for a very long time. So she is very experienced, and what she now does within the primary school is with Senko children as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what we do. And with children with additional needs, we kind of do give them a 1-to-1 so that their needs are met throughout the day and they feel safe with that person.
Yeah.
That's like their safety bubble for the day. And also their parents are there. So they can always go back and forth for them.
Is there any sort of limit to like either how many children you take or?
So at the moment we can have 30 children.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
We couldn't have like 31-year-olds. They have to be over the age of 8 for us to have 30 children.
All of them?
All children over the age.
All children.
For 30. But we done a wedding in last summer. We had 25 children, I think. Yeah, and they were from maybe we had an 8-month-old that was still being breastfed up until a 13, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big age range. And then with the little boy, we just would text mum and be like, hi, he's hungry, come back. And she'd come back from over the thing, give him a little feed and swan off back to the party.
So obviously like bride and grooms, they're obviously paying you to be there. So you obviously know their children. How do you ensure that all the other parents are comfortable with you looking after their kids? So
what we do is, so the bride and groom essentially book us, and we so depending on how many children there is and whatever, we will send them our questionnaire form. We then set up a WhatsApp group. I'm giving away all my secrets now. Set up a WhatsApp group with all the parents in it, and we are just kind of their key person to talk to. We advise them to look at our website and look at our Instagram, and then any questions just send our way. And then I think the bride and groom are obviously a good judge of character
Yeah.
and will share that with their friends and family. They're not going to hire us if they don't think that we're going to be great. And obviously, we've got our own kids. I've
Yeah.
got a 1-year-old. Lauren's a mum of 4. Fiona's got 2 kids. And Yvonne has 2 adult children that are my age, and then 2
Grandchildren.
grandchildren. Yeah. So we treat the children how I would want
Your own kids
my
to
own
be
kids to be
treated.
treated. To be fair, I probably wouldn't be like, get out. Like, I would just, I'm kinder with them. Like, can you not climb on that,
Yeah.
please? Whereas my own child, I'm like, get down. So yeah, I just kind of ensure that they know that I am their safety net for the
Yeah.
day, and that I will treat them how I want my child treated. Or yeah.
Have you ever had any parents that are like, absolutely not, I'm not letting a stranger look after my child?
We've had a couple of grandparents,
Really?
yeah, that have been like, well, why are you here? We can just look after them.
Go on then.
Yeah. However, as the day goes on and the more drinks flow, and they go, oh,
Now I get it.
you're here to look after the chip. There you go. There they are. So yeah, we've had a couple, and we just kind of talk to them. You know, we are not taking them away from the wedding. We're
Keeping them involved,
yeah,
but
we
at
keep
a
them. They
distance
can
as
be
well.
as involved. If you want them in the wedding all day and us on the dance floor with you, I can't dance, but Yvonne can. She's really good at it. She like gets all the parties started. We're at like weddings. It'll be like her and the kids on the dance floor, and then adults are like, oh, maybe we should join in. And then like and then like bedtime, and then the adults. So yeah, Yvonne's our little party starter, bless her. So yeah, we just say we're not here to take them away. And I always think if I had a camera watching me and I knew that the parents could tap in and look at it, would I be comfortable with that? And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I would. So I know that they can walk through the door at any time and come and see the children, and I know that we're all doing a good job and we're good at what we do.
Have you ever had a child that is like, you're like, I really wish I didn't take this job?
No.
Are you sure?
I am sure, but the bride won't mind me saying this either, because we have like since seen each other and we have a good relationship. I've babysat for our kids and stuff. We had a family come over and they were Irish kids.
Yeah.
And the dad wrote on the form, ginger and crazy. So I was like, ha ha, ha ha, that's funny. No.
And then you met them.
He was ginger and crazy. And do you know what? They were all lovely children. He was just like, he just run rings around us. Like, he needed a one-to-one just for himself, which if we'd known that in advance, we would have definitely
hired someone else.
Yeah, got someone else in. And we have backup nannies. We've got Tasha and Holly as well. And they are our backup nannies. So if we do ever need additional nannies, we've got them. So yeah, and I thought, wow, this is crazy. But again, it was fine. I have been punched in the face at a wedding from a kid as well. That was fun. And then I said to her nan, I was like, I should just punch her in the face. She went, yeah, she does that to people she likes. She must feel comfortable with you. And I thought, I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. So
See, I love having kids at weddings. I think it adds something special, especially if the couple have got their own kids.
Definitely.
My biggest gripe is the parents that, not all parents, because most of them are really good, but the ones that don't, they're not interested in watching their kid.
No.
And especially when it comes to speeches. So obviously with myself, what I do, I've got 3 cameras dotted around the room, and you'd like to think that people are aware. Anyone in the local area, I will tell, look, there's a camera here, so if you stand up, just be careful. And then you see the kids that are running through the tripod. And at a wedding last year, one of them went through the tripod, caught the tripod, and it went. And the lens snapped away from the body mid speeches. So then you've got to do that awkward moment where you're walking through the crowd to move the camera out of the way so that the speeches can carry on.
It's so
and
bad.
You don't want to go, just grab him.
Yeah, like, please just control.
And you see it so many times where so I'm on the camera that I'm manning and I'm watching kids do that or go near the camera.
Yeah.
And the parent is just so
they enjoy that.
They're not interested because they're watching the speeches, which I get. But just grab hold of your kid or something and put them on your lap.
That is why we are there.
Yeah.
Because kids don't want to sit through speeches. No offence, but speeches are so boring. No one cares about your best man from 10 years ago, what they done. Like a 5-year-old does not find that interesting at all. So that is kind of what we do at meal times, that we'll all kind of sit and either there's a kids table or kids will go back to their parents. And then when speeches come, we're like, right, you lot are ready to burn off
Yeah.
some energy.
Let's go
And
outside, roll in the
yeah,
mud.
and at this great time, all the people are sitting having the speeches. So the outside area is just
Free.
free for kids to just run and be free. And we've got loads of outdoor activities that we set up. We've got all different obstacle courses. And yeah, that's kind of like their time. So I always do say, if you're booking us kind of from evening time, book us from the speeches. It's an
Yeah.
extra 2 hours more, and I think the price is actually the same. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then it means that you your equipment's nice and safe.
I appreciate
And
that.
yeah, no, I know you do. I remember you saying at Amy's wedding that you just love that we're there.
You were the first wedding crash company I worked with, and I'll be honest, I didn't know it was a thing until then.
Yeah,
Um, and it's one of those where you don't realize you need it until you've got it.
definitely.
And again, I don't know whether a lot of couples know that wedding crash is a thing.
I don't think so. This is conversations that I'm having at the moment. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're not included in our budget. We didn't know that you existed.
Mm,
Where have you come from?" Basically, and it's all just about promoting ourselves and kind of getting ourselves out there. But
yeah,
we are out there, and we are so important to your wedding day. Like your kids or like your friends and family's kids are one of the most important people going to your wedding, and we are the important people that need to look after them and make sure that you can all relax, enjoy your day, have a few drinks, and that you're not going, has my kid been fed and watered? Do I need to change a nappy in my wedding dress? Like, that is not glamorous for
yeah,
anybody to be doing. And as much as the grandparents say, "Oh, we'll look after him," will you? And then if they do look after him, they're essentially being put to bed early,
yeah,
or they are running out of the ceremony because the kids started screaming or they're bored of the ceremony. So we're so good to just have as that extra pair of hands,
yeah.
really, and then help out.
So what was it that made you want to start your own wedding crash business?
Oh, this is a good one.
Is it?
Yep, it is.
I asked the good questions on this show.
So in 2022, who I was nannying for at the time had just turned 14. She's 18 this year. I'd looked after her since she was 7.
Yeah.
And I was a
Do you
bit,
feel old?
I feel so old. Like, and she actually tells me how old I am as well, which is really nice.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Lily. So I was coming to the end of my kind of time with her. I just didn't know when. And I had a full-time job as well. Again, it wasn't what I wanted to do in life. What I do is childcare. I'm not
Yeah.
made to sit in an office and type all day. Like, that's just not who I am. And I was in a marketing role, and it just wasn't doing what I needed to. My friend had set up a life coaching business. So I was like, right. He said, "Can I give you some life coaching?" I thought, "Go on then. If you want,
Tell me what I'm doing
yeah,
wrong.
where do we begin?" So we started our like thing, and he said, "What do you want to do? What is your passion?" So I think it's childcare, but I don't want to find another family to nanny for. I eventually want my own children. I just don't know. And then I said, "I think I want to set up like an agency of some kind." And then we went to a wedding that weekend. It was mine and Lauren's friend's wedding. And Lauren said, "I don't want to take the kids." And the bride whose wedding it was said, "Please, like, the kids will really make the wedding. Like, please bring them." So Lauren was like, "Okay, fine, I'll bring them. And my mum can pick them up at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whenever." It's fine. Lauren has 4 children. At the time, her youngest was 6 months and her oldest was 4. Me and Lauren ended up sitting it was me, Lauren, my partner, and Lauren's partner, the kid's dad, at this wedding. We took a kid each. We could not eat our food. We couldn't sit. Lauren missed the ceremony because she was late looking
Yeah.
after her children. Like, I'm not joking, she missed the full ceremony.
You see it a lot.
Like,
You see a lot.
because
Screaming babies or
yeah,
toddlers running
and she
around.
turned up to this wedding and she was so stressed. Anyway, so we had said to the bride before, "Is there anything for the kids to do there?" Yeah, there's loads. I'll sort some stuff out for them. There's a whole nother room for them to go in. Okay, fine. Dinner comes, the kids' stuff comes out. It's a colouring book and some colouring pencils. That kept the kids entertained for approximately
46 seconds.
yeah, like not even 46
Yeah.
seconds. Like they was bored. Then it was like, right, quick, back up with the kids, blah, blah, blah. So we're counting down the hours till Lauren's mum arrives. Lauren's mum arrives. We're like, yes, yes, she's here. Bye, kids. Off they go.
See
8
ya.
o'clock. Bye. Yeah.
To the bar.
To the bar, me and Lauren go. Everyone else around us is drunk. Me and Lauren decide to play catch up. So we order, I think, maybe 3 shots. Neither of us can do shots. Do them. We then are necking drinks, trying to catch up with everyone. 10 o'clock comes. Lauren, so drunk, has to take her home in a taxi because we had played catch up. The kids are now home and we had to leave the wedding early.
So Lauren getting drunk is the reason you
Yeah.
started your business.
So I go to my life coach. How was the wedding? Yeah, I said, do you know what? I said, I'm on something here. I said, I need to set up something that is at weddings for kids. He's like, do it. How do you do it? So I looked into it, pitched it to Lauren. She was like, yep, I work full time. I've got 4 children. With all the spare time that I have, let's do it. And that is where we come from. And then we set it up the back end of 2020, 2022.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was, I think. And then our first wedding, I was in Ibiza for. So I left that to Lauren as well. So
Benefit of being boss,
she
right?
gets the short straw here. Yeah. So we had a wedding and it was in a woods in Brighton. And it's for 1 child. So I thought, yeah, that's fine. Like, you only need 1 person because it's 1 child. So I sent Lauren down to Brighton. Off she went. I'm in Ibiza.
Having a good time.
Having a great time. Yeah. And after she was like, yeah, that went well. I thought, oh, good. She said, I think we need 2 people though, even if it's 1 child. And I was like, yeah, we do. And I said, like, it's so important to have 2 people because she was saying, like, I just needed to, like, make because it was at the woods and then they went back to the house, make the children's dinner. But I didn't know, like, what do we do? She said, I've got 4 kids at home. I make kids dinner every day. But when it's not your child, you're like, oh, so that's now we have a 2 nanny policy. There's always 2 of us. It's normally me and Lauren, unless we've got another wedding elsewhere. And then in that case, it will be me at one wedding, Lauren at the other, and then with Eva, Yvonne, and Fiona.
Yeah.
With us. So yeah, we're a 2 nanny policy, and that's where we evolve from.
And what's the competition like? Is there a lot of people doing what you're doing?
So obviously when you're in the industry, you notice it more. We're obviously the best out there. Like, I'm not.
Is it like when you go like, I want to buy this car,
Yeah.
because you never see them, and
then
then all of a sudden you start seeing them everywhere.
Yeah, exactly that.
I hate that.
I know. So there's a few of the bigger agencies in London, which are Central London, and again, they're just an agency. I'm not going to name names, but when I was doing some research, I inquired for a job with one of them.
Yeah.
So, research purposes. They said, can you do a wedding on Thursday for us? It's here. These are the details. This is what you need to do. Hadn't checked me, hadn't done anything, and they're sending me off to a wedding. And I thought, you're a big agency, but you're not a personal agency. And we are personal.
So how do you, with the girls that you work with, how do you ensure that they've got everything that you need to send out, and you know that you're not sending any weirdos or?
So they're all DBS checked. I have personal references with them, so I know them. I've known Lauren for 16 years, along with Fiona, and Yvonne was my high school best friend's mum.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so she mothered me through my teenage years, and me and my high school best friend were chaos.
Yeah. So you knew.
So yeah.
I've got one woman that I can call on.
Yeah. So I was just walking one day around the park and I bumped into her. Oh, how are you? Yeah, I'm setting this up. She said, if you ever need anyone when you start to get busier, let me know. So we started to get busier. So I let her know. So I've got their DBS checked, their first aid trained. And you just get a feel for someone, I think.
Yeah.
You just know. You can have all the qualifications in the world, but it's who you are.
So obviously,
as a person.
like you say, it's a really important job and really important role to have,
Yeah.
looking after people's children,
And on their wedding
and
day,
on their wedding day.
reliability. So I have a over 25 drill. No offense to anyone under the age of 25. I'm just jealous that you're under the age of 25, really.
Yeah,
Um,
relatable.
no, so over 25 drill. So the nannies are over the age of 25. So they, even Tasha and Holly, are backup nannies. They are over 25, and you're reliable.
Yeah,
Normally, if you're a
it's a little bit
parent,
of life experience there
yeah,
as well.
it's life experience.
I think 25 is a good age as well,
Yeah,
because I mean, when I turned 25, it was like that turning point of
yeah,
like, right, I now need to save for a house. I need to like get my ass in gear. I started learning about investments and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I was still going out and like partying a bit, but it was that turning point in life.
Oh yeah. If I need to go on a night out, I have to plan it in advance. I have to book my mum
Yeah.
for childcare. I have to plan where I'm going. I have to
Yeah.
book the event that I'm
You have to
going
eat
to.
good for the week
Yeah,
ahead so you're
like
not going to like crash
literally,
out.
literally all of that. So, and again with the girls that work with us, they are the same.
Mm.
There's no just popping out on a Friday night, and when you've got a wedding the next day, you're
Yeah.
not going out that night before the wedding. And obviously people do get sick and what have you. Lauren has literally turned up to weddings with no voice, like just to be there in body and be like,
Yeah.
you need to speak for me. And then that's why we have our backup nannies as well, so that they are the backup
Yeah.
if anything ever did go wrong.
Kick off.
Yeah, if ever, I don't know. Yeah.
So if obviously you're very popular and you're best out there, if a couple can't get you booked because you are already booked,
Yeah.
what red flags do they need to look out for when they're looking for a wedding crash company?
I think they need to read their reviews, like their actual reviews. I always start, no matter what I book, I look at people's lowest reviews. If I'm booking a hotel, if I'm booking a restaurant, and then I look at their low reviews and I think, oh, is that like someone will complain
I
or
do
they'll,
that. It's a
yeah,
real problem because you've
they'll,
got like 500 5 stars and two 1 stars, and you're
yeah, and
like,
I'm like,
oh,
yeah, and I'm like, oh, they didn't have enough croissants at breakfast. Um, so yeah, read people's reviews. If they can overpromise you everything, if what you're asking for is them to start doing somersaults halfway through your wedding and you want your kids to be professional gymnasts at the end and they can tell you, yep, we can do that, they can't. So check for the overpromising, check for their pricing. If they're cheap, there's usually a reason that they're cheap.
yeah,
And then yeah, you get a feel for someone, I think. And then I always do encourage a meet and greet somehow,
yeah,
whether that is on FaceTime or if it is face to face. And again, I would say over 25s experience. And I do think if you are a parent, you have a different, I personally think since I've had my little boy and me in childcare before, I was good before. I was very good before. But now I'm a mum, I see it a lot differently.
yeah,
I always think, like, I have my nieces before, so I just think, oh, how would I want them to be looked after? Now I've got Jensen. I can't explain him.
it's so weird
Yeah,
looking at life as a parent now,
it
isn't it?
is. He is like my cuddly koala. Like, if he could get back in my womb, he would. Like, he is. No, he tries. Like, he jumps on me sometimes. I'm like, no, you're not getting back in. No, but he is like my cuddly koala, and
Yeah,
he is the most attached child I've ever met. Like, my friends say, how is he so attached? Like, why is he like this? And I'm like, I don't know. And when parents say, oh, my child's really clingy to me, I am the problem. I know that I'm the problem. But I returned back to my full-time job after maternity. My friend was looking after him, and one day she picked him up, and I've got like a little cul-de-sac that you could just turn around in. He was hysterical, screaming, and I was like, I'm not going to let him go with her. She literally turned around the cul-de-sac, rang me, he stopped crying. And I was like, okay.
they're little con artists,
Yeah,
aren't
I
they?
am the problem. So now looking after children as a mum, I do it from a different perspective,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I think, what would I want for my child? And when I did work in childcare, I was a bit more laid. I'm so laid back. Like, me and Lauren are so chilled, but I was like so laid back before. So I'm not as laid back anymore. And like, I feel like I see danger ahead of danger.
yeah. That mum instinct, like a
Yeah,
spidey sense
it is because we went up to Manchester last weekend, me, Jensen.
for a job.
No, 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 just me, Jensen, and a couple of my friends. One of my friends lives there. We actually went to where Harry Styles is from, Holmes Chapel. Yeah, they do a tour of him. It's
Could
really
not give a
interesting.
monkeys.
No,
I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that, but I mean, like I said before,
I know my friend was sending pictures to his mum the whole time, and she was like, "Are you a big Harry Styles fan? Because like, where's this come from?" Anyway, so pushing him on the swing, he's going quite high. All of a sudden, he just decides to hang out at the swing. I've just grabbed him and stopped. The girls were like, "How? How?
you're,
Where did you see that?" Like they were like, "You weren't even paying attention," and like it's like you just knew.
I feel like you gain extra
Yeah,
peripherals.
literally, and I feel like that's what it's like.
Yeah, like when they're about to fall off the couch and you're like,
Yeah, exactly. It's just like talent, just like a talent, and you just like pick them up here and there. So yeah.
awesome. So how do you deal with the pressure of making sure the kids stay safe on a wedding day?
So Lauren is our risk assessment queen.
Right.
So before and at every venue, the venues have their own risk assessments, fire exits, and
Yeah.
all of that jazz. So we'll give the venue a little call before,
Borrow
make sure
that.
they've got that in place. And then once we're at the venue, we do a risk assessment of our own. And that can be anything from ponds and water to plug sockets to just like a general room. Like wedding venues tend to have like really nice like statues that like kids will love to like just pull on the top of themselves. So we do our risk assessments. We give every child a wristband. So what they have to do is have someone check them in, whether that be a grandparent, a friend and family, or whatever. And we give them, say, like a pink wristband. Their friend and family will then have a pink wristband with the child's name on it. We have nominated adults. So at weddings, a great aunt that sends the kids like a fiver at Christmas thinks that the kids want to play with them. The kids do not know who this person is. So they're like, "Oh, come to me." The child is like, "Sorry, who are you? I actually don't know who you are." So we now have nominated adults. So only the adults that are either on the list or with a wristband are the adults that can take the children out of the creche room.
Yeah.
Or we'll just like be like this person. So we know who the children are happy with and who they're comfortable with to go to. And then we ratio our nannies to children. So any children under the age of 2, we have a 1-to-1 nanny. That's also with any children with any additional needs. And then we do it differently to Ofsted and nurseries and things. And then from 2 to 8, it's a 1-to-4 ratio. And then from 8 plus, it's a 1 to 8 children. So yeah, we ensure that they're all safe with our risk assessments, our nominated adults and wristbands. And then also we know who's in the wedding party. So it's a good way to meet people. And then by having the correct number of staff, we also like tend to have a WhatsApp group between the adults that are there, and who they are, who the nominated safe adults are, and they'll like check in with us occasionally. Sometimes like they're literally like, "Kids okay?" and we're like, "Yep," and then they'll just thumbs up you back.
It's like talking to a dad.
Literally. But yeah, and then that's kind of what we do. And then the venues are usually, what I love normally about a wedding venue is that it's all just in one place. So you can kind of see one of the venues that I work at, lovely venue, like beautiful. It's just surrounded by water.
Right.
And yeah, but we know the venue so well that there's outdoor space and it's like more of the towards the front away from the water, so that is like the perfect setup space for the children. There's also like the barn, which is part of it, and then like a little conservatory. So yeah, and we've just, if I've got to jump in one day, which touch wood I never will, that's what I'll have to do.
You're gonna text me next week. I've done.
Literally.
I've had to do it. Just give a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, but we just risk the venues. And then you just, children like rules. Children like boundaries, and to say, you can run, like, because the venues are so big most of the time, there's so much space to just run and be free.
Yeah.
You kind of man a corner each, and then it's a bit like a game of rounders with kids. And yeah, and then that's how we kind of keep them safe.
So there's not more to it than just like rocking up to a wedding and
There
picking
is
a
so
room
much
and...
to it. People don't have a clue. My insurance took me 6 months to get. This is another thing. My insurance is so niche to what it needs to be. It took me 6 months to get. You can be a nanny and you can be insured. You can be a wedding vendor and you can be insured. To be a wedding nanny at a wedding venue and be insured, it took me 6 months to find. And my
Yeah.
insurance is brilliant. I've got a legal team, which again I need to send risk assessment. They'll randomly be like, "Can you send me your latest risk assessment?" And I'm like, "Here it is." So
So
yeah,
if you don't do that, will they then like bin off
they
your
could stop my
insurance and
insurance. Yeah. So there's so much to it. We find out so much about the children, which is paperwork, contracts, time, and then it's the insurance behind it, the all our toys and everything. We clean them all before, we clean them all after. We check every single toy. You know, like a Barbie's
yeah,
head's all off, right? We need to check
make
that
sure
because
they're
that's
on?
our responsibility. Like we sometimes get people saying, "Can we just bring our own toys?" And I'm like, no, sorry, because if your Barbie's head falls off and a child chokes on it, who's liable for that? Is it me or
Yeah,
is it you? And this is also like sometimes we'll be like at a wedding and they'll be like, "Oh, there's a 9-year-old and 10-year-old, but they don't want anything to do with you." And we're like, we need I need every detail on them because if something happens to them or if they're playing and something, who's liable? You say that I'm not, but I am. If a child's on
yeah,
soft play and bangs their head, because like people are like, "Can we just use your soft play?" And I'm like, no,
yeah.
you can't.
So if there's like 10 5-year-olds and
Yeah,
then there's a couple of 10-year-olds that
yeah,
they're not bothered about, the parents don't want you to look after
yeah.
them, they're not allowed to use any of your kit. Do you
So,
still need to know their
so we
information? And
find out all that information. So we had a wedding last year. It was my friend actually. He's called James. Hi, James.
hi,
Um,
James.
and he had paid for 4 children, and then other children just turned up that wasn't actually invited to the
Right.
wedding, and they trashed our stuff. Like it was all set up outside. We had like a nice easel. We had like bean bags and stuff. And the kids, they were about probably between about 10 to 14, and they just like popped the balls and whatever. And luckily, James was my friend, so I could say to him, "Excuse me, like you need to sort this out." But if he wasn't, so then we learnt from that, and now I have every child on my record and on my books, so that if anything was to happen, my insurance covers that. You've paid for it, so
Yeah.
like we'll replace it. And so I have every single child, and again, it's a safeguarding thing. You need to know.
It's covering your own ass as well, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's knowing what children are there because, like I say, they'll say, "Oh, don't worry about Bob. He's fine. He's 10." But
Imagine a child
okay,
called Bob.
yeah, imagine. Um, sorry if there's any kids called Bob. But something
You'll see him on the 16th.
I know. But if anything was to happen and I'm standing there, do I just leave Bob because I'm not looking after him, or do
Yeah,
I
yeah.
then jump in? So that's why I'm just like, I need every single child's details. And if they aren't on my register, then unfortunately I have had to turn a child away, and I felt awful. But I wasn't insured to have her.
Well, again, you've got to cover your own
Yeah,
back.
and I just said I am literally at max capacity for the amount of children that I can have, and I know nothing about your child. And even when I do babysitting, I take so much details from parents
Yeah,
as well. I know everything, and I know emergency contacts. I know if are they allergic to milk? Are they like I need to know so much about them so that if anything was to go wrong, I can pass on that information to the important
yeah.
people.
Powers that be.
Yeah.
So obviously, kids are funny characters. What have you must have seen some funny things kids have done over the years.
Yeah, so I've had a few. So when I done last summer, we had a little girl that done the speech. And like
I've had a few of those.
yeah, and it was
Some of them are really cute. Some of them are tragic.
yeah, like hers was really cute. And then they were just really funny kids, as well. And like she done her speech and whatever. Then I've had other kids that have sworn at weddings. So like
Sworn.
yeah, so we'll be like sitting at the back and they'll be like, "Fuck off." And then you'll be like, "No, no, no." And they'll be like, "Fuck off." And it just gets louder and louder and louder. And to the point that you're like, "Right, off we go."
You're not like, no,
Out."
you fuck off.
Yeah, no, we're like, "Out we go." I had a little girl just lift her dress up and go tits out. She was 2. Yeah, she
Yeah.
wasn't even 2. So yeah, no, kids are funny. And then when I met a little boy the other day for a meet and greet, like I shook his mum's hand and then he just stood there and was like, and I was like, "Oh, sorry." Like he was like ready for me to.
Yeah.
But kids, they say things that you just don't want them to say. I've also been at a wedding and a child says to me, she was about 7, did you know that fat people could get married? The bride was a little bit on the bigger side. And I was like, yeah, no, I did. And she was like, I didn't. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, how can I divert this conversation? Because the bride's about to walk down the aisle. Like, what do we do? So yeah,
That's
kids,
hilarious.
yeah, no, kids say
Kids got
stuff.
no filter. It's great.
They have no filter. And that's why I'm like, is there anything funny? Because there's so much.
Do you find it like if like, obviously the little one that said "fuck off"? How do you not laugh at that?
I do.
You do.
I do. And then I'm like, I shouldn't laugh. Like, I can't help it.
Well, you're a
But
kid. You're not. It's not
no,
your
as
job
long
to
as it's not
discipline.
my kid, it's not my problem.
Although
No.
when Jensen does start to swear, it is going to be funny.
Oh, yeah, no. My friend taught him to say dick. She was like, can you call your dad a dick? And he was like, dick. And now he says it randomly. And I'm like, no, can we not say that word? So, yeah, it is funny. But then it's a bit like, right, we don't need the videographer to be capturing that. Like, can you blur that out?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Oh, damn it.
I did a wedding last year, and the bride's mum or nan told me there was a little boy in the room, and she was going, film him, look at him, and frown at him. I'm all right. I'm intrigued. So I'm like filming this little boy out, and he looked at me. He goes, and then all day I must have caught him like 3 times. I caught him doing one sneaky one, like.
That's so funny. No, I just love them. I think they're so funny, and it's just like the quick one-liners that they come
Yeah.
out with, and you're like, how do you even know how to say that? Like,
Legends.
yeah, no, they are very funny.
Have you had any like mini wedding crashers like during ceremonial
So-
speeches and?
We've had a couple. So we've had one little boy, and he was he was so cute. I literally love him. And he was to run down the aisle, and then we can take him, whatever. But his job was to run down the aisle. The bridesmaids had like beautiful, like really tight, slinky dresses on. So the bride was like, my sister can carry him down, but she is in a bridesmaid's dress, and I don't really want that. He can run down. So yeah, fine. So he like stood at the top of the aisle and was like, I ain't run down there. So we have like little balls, obviously, keep them aesthetically pleasing, a white little ball. Run that to daddy. So he runs halfway, runs back, runs halfway, runs back, and we're like, no, like, come on, like, go. But the music is playing. The music's now coming to the end. None of the bridesmaids have gone down. The bride hasn't come down. So we kind of had to like throw him at the bridesmaid and like walk him down. So he's run down. The bride's come down. As the bride's coming down, he's run back up. And the bride was a bit like, you know, like bride had vision. Child didn't vision it. And then another wedding that Lauren was at, I wasn't there, thankfully. But the DJ comes up to us at any wedding showcase and will apologise to Lauren all the time. He's like, I'm so sorry. We've given him like PTSD. Well, not me. Lauren was at a wedding. She was bridesmaid, and a little boy, not under our childcare, disclaimer, run onto the dance floor at the first dance as the fireworks went up, and basically Lauren Rugby tackled him out the way.
They'd be like cold sparklers though, wouldn't they?
No.
Oh.
They are hot fireworks that went up like that. And like when me and Lauren saw him at a wedding fair, she was like, oh, like, do you remember me? I saved that little boy. And he's like, oh, he said I lay awake at night and sometimes think about that. Like,
their fault. That's why they hire you.
and that is why we're there. Yeah, so that's another reason I guess people need us. Lauren wasn't even working. She was just a bridesmaid, and she still saved the day.
See, I got done over by the cold sparklers.
Oh, did you?
Like the DJ knew I was going to put my camera down, and I don't think he must not have known, but as I've gone down, like, he knew where I was, and the sparklers had gone up. Luckily, they were cold sparklers.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't apologise to me. He probably sleeps all right at night.
Yeah, he probably does. But this one, it's probably because we called him out on it, and now he just feels embarrassed. So yeah, that was probably one of another wedding crash one. But we haven't had any like main like moments. At Amy's wedding, where we met.
Yeah.
When the photography was going on, her little boy turned and wiped his nose on her wedding dress, and it happened in slow motion. Like I could see it happening, and there was nothing I could do because I was like that little bit too far back that I couldn't like jump in front. Also, like there's pictures being taken, but yeah, he just wiped it, and I was like. And I just felt mortified, and I was like, "This is my job, was to stop that from happening." But you can't stop that.
You can't be in control of everything.
No, there was nothing I could have done that would have stopped him from doing that.
So, as a bride and groom, got to sort of live with the fact that you may end up in their photos and videos.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And so
always try and explain that I'm going to end up in your photos at some point.
yeah, and then it's what we do is we always send a wedding book out. If we get a review from them, we'll send out. So a lot of the time we are with the children more than the photographers and the videographers, and they don't necessarily capture the children because they're there to capture the bride
Yeah.
and groom. That's what the bride and groom have briefed them. I want as many pictures of me.
Yeah.
So we'll just take them on our iPhone, and then if they leave us a review, we will send them out a photo book. But a lot of the photo books contain us in it. And one of the like mums is always like he like points to your photo still and is like, "Girl, what? Girl, two." So yeah, we
It's
get
better
called,
than thing one, thing two.
yeah, exactly. We get called like Miss quite a lot as well.
Is that because like kids are just starting school and they
Yeah,
get
and they're
called?
always like Miss, or like one little boy is always like young lady. Well, that I look after, he always calls me a young lady, and I'm like, thanks. I am like 31, but yeah,
I needed that.
yeah, exactly.
So obviously, if there's a few companies out there and like doing what you do, why should people hire you over them?
So I think it is just our expertise. I
Yeah.
think you get a feel for someone. Like when you meet someone, you know exactly what you're looking for. And I think if you're looking for childcare, I when I viewed like nurseries for my little boy, I've picked up, they've gone, oh, so and so is level 6 qualified. Doesn't mean anything to me. It's how you feel
Yeah.
when you initially have that first conversation, that first email. Do you think that's who I want? And then obviously we are so experienced. I've got the least experience, and that's 16 years.
Yeah.
We're mums, as I said, and so we have that motherly instinct and the feel for how children should be looked after. And while we are still quite a small company, it's a personal thing. It's not just dishing out numbers to cover our own back. Like it's very like we love a wedding. Like
Yeah.
it's so personal to us as well as them, and we want to make their day probably more perfect than them. Like the visions that I get when the second someone says, "Oh, I'm getting married here," my visions start going, and I know what setups I'm doing, and I know the aesthetic of what they want, and you get a real feel for what the brides
Yeah.
are after as well. So yeah, I think it's just how you feel about us, and like I said, our expertise, our deep dived insurance, and then all the paperwork that follows it, because we essentially want to leave you alone on your wedding day.
Yeah.
And our Google reviews, some
Hard
people
man.
like, please leave us a review. Like we've had brides that like
Where do you prefer your reviews? On Google,
Google,
Facebook?
Google, because it brings us up on Google, I think.
So not a lot of people can get on Google.
Really?
I think it's something to do with a weird Gmail account thing. I don't know.
Oh,
But
maybe
I
any
try and
review
take
I'll
yeah
take.
try and take them on like Brightbook or
Yeah.
wherever. Just it's nice to
We've
know.
literally had people come up to us and be like, well, some of my reviews even say, "You are the best money I've spent today. Out of everything at my wedding, no offense."
Did Amy say that to you?
Yeah, she did.
Fuming.
I know.
I'm gonna call
She
her
did.
after this.
If you could, yeah.
I go, what are you on about?
No, she did. And so did her sister-in-law.
I'm gonna call her and
Yeah, make sure you do.
I'm livid.
Yeah, no.
Amy, if you're watching this, I'm coming
He's
for you.
after you.
Coming for you.
Yeah, no, we've had brides say, like, you are the best money we have spent today. Like, thank you so much for everything you've done. Or we've had, like, people that have been like, I was so nervous to leave my child with you. And, like, they have been absolutely fine. Like, the parent that we had last year with the 8-month-old that was still breastfeeding, she was like, I just didn't think I could leave him with you. And, like, he's fine. Like, and
Yeah.
for her, it was a relief. And, like, we've had parents go, I haven't eaten with my partner next to me for, like, 4 years. And, like, and we're like, even things like that, like it's so, I wish I could like capture, be like, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that so I can use that for content? Yeah. Because our reviews kind of speak for themselves. And I would be happy to, I don't know if my brides would be, but if anyone said, oh, can we speak to one of your past brides? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah. Well, I can obviously first-hand experience with you girls. I know that you do an absolute stellar job.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't have you on the show if it was any other way.
Yeah.
So I can attest that you are good at your job.
Thank you. Just good.
Apart well, he wiped his nose on the bride's dress. So.
I know.
There's no fishing for compliments on this show.
No.
Just take what you're given.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Right. So we're at the unpopular opinion segment of the show now. And someone actually commented this on one of the reels I put on Instagram as well. So
Okay.
it's if you and your spouse have children within the family, then it's selfish to have a child-free wedding. If you're that set on no kids, just elope.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I think I personally couldn't get pre me having my little boy, I couldn't have got married without a form of childcare there because
Yeah.
all of my and even now with my little boy, I couldn't get married without someone else being there because all my childcare is at the wedding.
Yeah.
Every single person you trust with your child should be at your wedding.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, I do think either elope or if you are saying a no kid wedding, give them an alternative. And we are that alternative, I
Yeah.
think.
I understand. Yeah, like it's, if people have got kids and they can't get childcare because, well, they might be part of the family,
Yeah,
and then their family's going to be there, so it's,
exactly. Like if Lauren, like she's got 4 kids, how do you get them looked
yeah.
after? Like getting one kid
I
looked
think
after.
times are like different now. I mean, like
Yeah,
when I was a kid, you could just call up your neighbor and go, "Can you look after him for
yeah.
a
Just
bit?"
watch the kids if you
Yeah, it
can.
probably explains a lot.
Yeah,
But you can't. I don't
exactly.
think you can do that now. I don't think it's the done thing.
No,
So
and I think it is. Do you necessarily because when you are leaving your child, it's okay. I need to leave them overnight. I need to prep this, prep that, blah blah blah. And it's like, do I want to do that for
yeah,
like Lauren hasn't gone to her partner of like 15 years friends' weddings because she hasn't got anyone to have her kids. And if it's a no kid wedding or they don't want kids there,
yeah,
then what do? One of you ends up missing out.
yeah.
And then we come along and you can have the best of both worlds.
It is a great alternative what
Yeah,
you
like
offer
we
because,
offer from 4 to 48 hours. So even if you're hungover the next day, we're still there.
really.
Yeah.
So like, what do you do overnight then? Do
So
they make sure that you've got a hotel room and you stay with the kids
yeah, so
overnight?
we've got a couple this year, and we've got some where the venue is like where you can stay, or
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere it's like you have to go back to a hotel, and we'll just take the kids back to the hotel. They'll go in one bed, and we'll be in another, and then when the children are asleep, in like awake hours, we do half-hour checks, like breathing checks, which is I think just from being in nursery. And then once it's like sleep time, I'm a parent. I don't sleep. I sleep with one eye open, and so's Lauren. Literally like a child go, and I'm awake.
yeah,
So yeah, and we just check them through the night, and then the next day get them up doing breakfast, and we try and keep like a home from home experience as well.
yeah,
It's like keep their routine. Kids get shattered at weddings. Like they want to be in bed by like 7, even if like the parents that are we done a wedding last year, and the parents were like, oh, they'll stay up all night. I'm like, okay, fine, okay, literally they were like so the house was like here and the party was like here and there was just like a bit of like field in between,
mm.
and the parents would like text like he's ready to come back now, and they were literally dropping like flies, and by 10 o'clock all the kids were in bed asleep.
Yeah.
We had monitors in each room going up and checking, some of us were in the rooms, and yeah, we just check on them.
Nice. So there's a lot more to it than you are like. Again, just doing just the wedding, going home, getting
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah, there's
That's
so
awesome.
much to it, and it's just so personal as well to the bride. You know, we have to deal with some bridezillas, and I get it. It's your child. Me and Lauren always say it's really hard to trust people with your child because
Mm.
we don't trust people with our child. Again, it's just building that relationship
Yeah.
with them before, so that they know that you are like you come from a good place.
So what could wedding venues do to help you girls do what you do?
So we are registered at a couple of wedding venues, and it's seeing us do what we do,
Mm.
which makes wedding venue. When I first started, I would have probably called 100 wedding venues. No, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't. Okay, fine. It's seeing what we do and then recommending us. I'm very grateful for all of the recommendations that we have got so far because they've like seen us and been like, what a brilliant idea. And again, they didn't even know we existed.
Yeah.
So it's knowing that we exist and pushing us as much as they can, and like
Getting the
scream,
idea out
yeah,
there.
like scream from the rooftops. Like we had tell every single bride that comes through your door, we had a wedding nanny. And
Mm.
then someone will end up booking.
Well, I haven't stopped talking about wedding crash
Thank you.
since meeting you girls because they say it's something that because you didn't know it was there, you didn't know you needed it.
No, and like you actually don't, and it's like it's so essential to your day. Like people go, will happily spend 400 quid on a cake. I love cake. I love wedding cake. It's great. But they will happily just spend that and not even think because
Yeah.
that's the traditional thing to do at a wedding. Whereas we're a very new thing at weddings. So it's trying to like be like, you need
Trying to
us.
fit into their
Yeah.
budget.
And it's finding us. And one of the other child that we looked after at Amy's wedding, they were like, we wasn't going to bring our little boy today because at the last wedding he was so badly behaved. And the grandparents were looking after him. There was a little park next door. They took him to the park next door. They left him in the park. He was 2 years old. Like, so yeah, it's just, it's, I feel like I've had messages as well where like people are like, I really wish I booked you.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry I didn't book you. I wish you wasn't like out of our budget or whatever. But I'm not out of budget. I cater your budgets too.
Just people got to ask.
Yeah.
Ask the question, right?
Ask the question. I'm not going to work for free.
Obviously.
But yeah, but you can't expect me to look after 200 for 20 kids for 200 quid. I've actually had.
Could theoretically, if I don't know your pricing. We haven't spoken about that.
Yeah.
But if say you charge £1,000 for the day,
Yeah.
for example, could couples that have got other parents come in potentially get them to chip in?
Yeah, they have done before.
Really?
Yeah, like they've said, right, my brother's come in. He would pay for a babysitter anyway. He can pay what he would pay for a babysitter. And do you know what, where I live, it's £18 an hour for a babysitter.
Yeah.
And my price is, I'm £25 an hour. Plus our packages on top.
Because it's not just for the bride and groom, is it? It's for
everyone.
Parents with other children. And obviously if they're not willing to chip in, then
your
unfortunately
kids aren't invited.
Yeah, you don't invite the kids, or you can't look after them because obviously your insurance and your liability and stuff like that. So for anyone watching, it's...
I have learned from the day I set up to the weddings I do now, they're completely different.
Yeah.
You learn along the way. And we've had parents say, oh, we'll watch them. And then they stand and then they just step further and further away. And I'm like, excuse me, back here. So that's why now I'm like...
It's like when we hear the best man's going to be the master of ceremonies.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's going to be drunk by ceremony. And then he's going to become all shy and not be able to shout and direct. They don't know how a wedding day runs, so it ain't going to work. So it's left to us.
Me and Lauren Lauren, again, risk assessment queen, had to put a best man to bed because he was so drunk. She literally, the groom was like, so all the kids were in the room, the groomsmen were like, had got ready and they was in like the same room at the same time. And this groomsman, I ended up saying, do you know we're not here to look after you? Like, he was like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, why? He's like, my speech. And I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I'm sweating. Do you have the... In the end, he obviously thought it'd be a good idea to drink his way through it. And then the groom was literally like, can you just sort him out?
Get rid of him.
Yeah. And I was
You
like,
should go. He's not under my insurance.
No,
So.
I did say that. I was like, I'm charging an extra fee. And we was literally like, come with us.
Holding his hand.
Literally.
Put a monitor in the room with him.
No, literally we did. And then we had to keep checking on him to make sure like he was still breathing and alive. So yeah, but that is, he left the review saying like, thanks for putting the best.
Cheers for looking after.
Yeah, because the best man was harder work than the kids that day.
They always are.
Yeah, no, they are.
So where can people find you to get you booked in for their wedding day?
So we have our website, which is theweddingcrechers.surrey.com. And then we've got our Instagram, which is the Wedding Crechers Surrey. And then Facebook as well, or alternatively WhatsApp us.
Well, we'll make sure we get tagged in everything like everyone does.
Yeah.
But it's been great catching up with you.
It has been fabulous.
Learning a bit more about you and Jensen and Lauren.
Yeah.
And everything else that you do, I think is wonderful what you're doing and people need to know. But before we go, is there anyone else that you'd like to see on the podcast in the future?
Oh, so I have a couple of people. So
Pick your favourite.
Oh, I don't know. So Bella Reels, she's called Emily. She works at can I say wedding venues that I work with?
Yeah.
Yeah. She works at the Old Mill in Reading. Her story behind is just fabulous, so I'd like to see her. And because I was going on camera today, I got my makeup artist Arabella Webster, MUA, to sort my face out, basically.
Sort your face
out.
out.
So if you think I look rubbish, then don't book her.
Yeah, I might not get her on. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, and then obviously our hair gal, HL London.
Awesome. Well, we'll reach out to all of them and see if they're interested, and hopefully we'll see them on the show in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
But yeah, it's been great catching up.
Thank you.
We'll speak to each other soon.
Yes.
Fade out.